Paul Ricard. It is the French Grand Prix. It is Formula Fridays. Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm your host, Fallen Monkeys, joined once again, as usual, by my co-commentator, ISRL Esports, as we are just loading into the one-shot qualifying session, and it's looking to be, at least from what I can see, maybe a little bit of a damp qualifying session here to kick things off. Now, Sunik, I'm just going to check in. Are you here with us?
Oh, absolutely. Whoops, maybe not.
Maybe
yeah,
not.
No, I'm here.
Perfect. So how you doing today? How you feeling about this Formula Fridays race that we're about to kick off in just a few moments?
You know, we had a little bit of an off week. We had the break week. We ran the death gauntlet. Tried to keep the drivers busy, but we're all ready for this. We've been anticipating this race for about 2 weeks now, so the drivers are getting ready to get loose. We already saw Division 4 get going here on Wednesday afternoon. And now we're set up for Formula Fridays, and the rest of the weekend will follow.
Definitely. I know I've been itching to kick off the race weekend. I mean, we've already seen Division 4, as you said, on Wednesday, but now we're here to kick off the weekend of events. Back at it once again here after the off week, and it looks as though the game has given us ISRL Carter to ride on board with for the qualifying session, who, I'll be honest, has had a really good showing here, all things considered, in the Formula Fridays Championship. So let's stick with Carter on the onboard as he's going to take us through a lap of Circuit Paul Ricard here for the French Grand Prix. And I feel, contrarily to what I said, it looks as though it's just really cloudy and really dark here for this session. But I'm seeing dry tires, at least for Carter's sake. So I guess
the lights are on too. I don't know if you've noticed that the lights on the side of the track.
I didn't notice it, but now that you do mention it, I do see it now. The lights are turned on. So an interesting weather. An interesting weather and start time selection here for the qualifying session. I guess random and dynamic does bring this into effect, I guess. But I mean, it's nice to have this for Formula Fridays. A little bit of a difference from what we're used to seeing with the official start times. And I don't know, I kind of enjoy it. It's a little bit out of the norm, but we'll see. Maybe we'll have a night race here, or maybe a race in Sunset. I don't think we'll see a night race like we would on Singapore, but I think anything can happen. As approaching the end of the qualifying session, it looks as though it is going to be, it was Passas and Nizat Kush battling it out right at the line. So who's going to take this pole position? And it is going to be Izat Kush, who just goes ever so slightly faster than Passassin, with Knight having a really strong qualifying lap as well, rounding out the top three. The driver riding with Carter getting a P5 for himself in qualifying, so still a really strong qualifying showing for him as well. But if I'm looking through the order, it is Izat Kush going to be starting on pole for the first race, and only 3/100ths of a second behind was ISRL Passassin. As mentioned, Knight in a bit more of a distant P3, with Sophion in 4th, Carter we are riding with in 5th, Dark in 6th, ISRL Mushroom in 7th, Josh 2 in 8th, ISRL Pretzels in 9th, but crucially on the medium tires, and the only driver to put on the medium tires, with Monkey Mafia rounding out the top 10, and Jordan and Hartman P11, P12, with Joseph Cozy and Chill Mo invalidating their laps somewhere along the way, and will be starting at the back of the grid. Now, I just want to say, I noticed that with Pretzels being the only driver on those medium tires, do you think that's a good idea for him? Do you think that was a good choice for the start of tires?
Obviously, it being a 25% race, obviously we're going to go soft, medium, soft. Doesn't really matter. So, he won't have the pace right at the beginning as we see. It's another cloudy session. So, those track temps are going to be way down. So, the grip level is going to be probably great, and the wear should be minimal. So, judging by what we normally know as drivers, the softs won't really have that big of a cliff as they do in, I'd say, sunny conditions. So, we'll see. He'll be fast at the end of the race, certainly. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, definitely. But my worry, now that you mention it, seeing these cloudy skies, it looks as though we're in similar conditions as it was for qualifying. And just to make a note here, I did see Izat Kush was the first driver to hit that ready up button here on Formula Fridays. I know we're a little bit lax about it, but I did notice that. But I do think potentially the medium tires might take a little bit longer to get to that optimal tire range with the colder conditions. But we're up to the 5 red lights already, and up to 5 red lights now. But we're still spinning as well, and we're off, all ready to get this race started. And it looks to be a good start by Izat Kush, leading the way, but Pasassin getting a little bit of a distant second, but might need to battle it out with Sophion, as it looks as though Carter's falling down the order ever so slightly, and Knight... Oh no, who is that? That's spinning? That was Dark. Once again, another... a troubling start for Dark, as I think this might be the second race in a row that he's had a bit of a moment off of the start of the race. But for us, we do move on as Dark falls down the order, and it is still Izat Kush leading the way with Pasassin in second, with Sophion now jumping Knight to go up into third, and Josh Chu already up into fifth position. I can't actually remember where we qualified, but back a little bit further down the grid, we've got Pretzels and Monkey Mafia battling it out. I think that was Monkey Mafia you saw on the screen kick out just a little bit, trying to get the move done. It almost looked like he lost the car ever so slightly there as well.
Oh, here we go, right here. Yeah. Mushy Mush on Pretzels. They had a little bit of coming together in China, so obviously no hard feelings there. But I want to mention Sophion. Sophion's going to be trying to impress her. This is his home GP, so a lot of French representation throughout our league, but Sophion being a past Tier 2 champion in the spotlight at the moment. Yeah, definitely is going to want to
represent, especially, of course, just like I myself in the Canadian Grand Prix, and I'm sure yourself at when we get to COTA with the US Grand Prix. You know, there's something a little bit special about that home Grand Prix, even if it is just here in the game. It gives you that extra 100%. Incentive, especially when you've got the flag flying. You know, it's your track, it's your home. You got to defend home turf, you know. And I'm sure for Sophion, it's no different. But it looks as though a little bit further down the grid, we have that lovely blue and white car of Jordan overtaking Monkey Mafia to go up into 9th. And Jordan as well, I just noticed this here with the tires, has put on the medium tires to start, as well as Joseph Cozy being the only two drivers other than Pretzels to start the race on the medium tires. Of course, they did have that free choice of tires, so a little bit better wear, I would think, than Pretzel's tires that are 1 lap old, as much as I really don't think that'll affect all that much in terms of a 25% race. But here we have Josh 2 looking to make a move, going side by side with ISRL Knight, and does get that move done fairly simple, but or fairly easily, I guess I would say, but I'm sure Knight is putting up a valiant fight, but stuck going the long way around, and through that swooping right-hander, it wasn't going to end well, I think, as the outside line is very difficult to keep that traction without going wide or without just losing so much time when you do need to get back onto the gas. So it is going to be Josh 2 up into 4th, Knight down into 5th, as, what's going on here? This is, okay. It was a little bit interesting there, as it looked as though there was maybe an accident, but that's just Mushroom taking a very early pit stop here on lap 3 out of 13 to get off of those soft tires and put on the medium tires to go to the end of the race.
Yep, not sure what that was all about, but I mean, to each his own, you know. Carter already up pressuring Nick. I mean, Knight, rather.
And Knight actually goes
a little wide, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit wide on the exit of that corner. It is a very tricky section of corners, and I feel as though the lead up to that whole section really makes or breaks the entrance and the exit. But you can see now Carter going down the inside, but it does turn into the outside temporarily, and I really want to say it.
I mean, you might as well go for it. It's Friday.
I mean, it was a very interesting line from Carter as he takes the exit of that chicane that separates the two straights, but it allows Knight to hold on to that 5th position and keep the I guess the custom car of ISRL Carter behind him. But for how long? As Carter's showing he's got a lot of pace around this circuit, at least early on here in this session, I would say.
Yeah, same with Josh. As Josh is putting pressure on Sophia, but here we go with Carter and Knight.
Oh, back at it. Right as I switch over to another, well, what looked to be another battle, here we go back at it again. Carter going, had a thought about going down the inside, but I think the opportunity just completely closed up on him. But this is a nice little battle to see. You know the drivers, these two drivers have mass amounts of respect for one another. That I can all but say with 100% certainty. So you know they're going to be giving themselves the room. You know they're going to be friendly about it. But of course, when you're on the track, you want to be in that position ahead. And it is Carter actually ahead of Knight, getting that overtake done. Through into, I guess the overtake got done into turn 1. I think the custom cars did throw me for a little bit of
They have similar cars. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
They really do. It's like they go for a little gold thing.
Yeah, so it kind of aided and played myself in the commentary booth as I got the two cars mixed up and thought that Knight held on to the position, but as I just noticed there, it was Carter who did get the move done on the entrance into turn 1, I believe.
It doesn't help that, one, we have a lot of ISRL representation with everybody's name, and two, these drivers, I swear, they're switching their cars up every week. It's so hard to keep up with everybody. I think, oh, here we go. We get the first round, well, the only round of pit stop. Sorry, a little bit of NASCAR came out of me, but yeah. So we see Sophie and Josh. Could be no wonder. I think that's everybody in the pit, actually.
Yeah, but looks as though the top 4 all went into the pits. Knight and Carter did opt to stay out, but I've been focusing on this battle a little bit further behind, because you've got Joseph Cozy, Monkey Mafia, and I think that might be, I think Jordan's a little bit further ahead, but Monkey Mafia, Joseph Cozy, I think it's Hartman as well, with, I think Mo as well getting involved with this battle. So you've got 4 cars oh so close together, and even Dark now, after having that moment right from the start of the race, right back, right behind these cars. And it looks as though they're all battling for position, all similar pace, and it's just a matter of who gets who. Chill Mo went a little bit wide, but thankfully was able to get back on track and defend on Dark. But for how long? Because I think Dark might have had a slightly better run, but with DRS, oh, actually, look at the pace Mo is having, just getting right up behind that.
Josh is around.
Oh no! Let's take a look. There is that yellow flag. Oh, that's not what Josh wanted at all. But
it's gonna put him very far back from Sophian, who is right on the tail end of the pit stop. So
yeah, so he's gonna have a lot of work to do to actually catch back up to the order. But only 3 seconds behind the car of ISRL Mushroom, so there is still opportunity, and it is, I'm gonna say, only lap 5 out of 13, so there is still a decent amount of time, especially for a driver of Josh Two's caliber, to get those overtakes done. But I'm gonna switch over back to potentially another battle here on circuit, as the battle I was watching, it seems as though, like clockwork, when the lead driver of them dove into the pits, everybody else decided they were going to go into the pits as well, except for Joseph Cozy, who is on the medium tires in his defense, so will be staying out.
Medium tire runners are 1, 2, and 3 line astern now.
Yeah, but Dark, the only driver out of the soft tire runners who opted to stay out extra long on those soft tires. So looking to extend his stint and maybe use those soft tires to his advantage, maybe not feeling the wear as much as some of the other drivers, and looking to maybe build that gap, so that way when he does take his pit stop onto the mediums, he's right into the thick of the fight, and not stuck battling everybody in the entrance to the pit stop and on the exit of the pit stop as well, when everybody's oh so close together. Like we're kind of seeing here already with Hartman and Monkey Mafia, who are oh so close to having just come out of the pit stops themselves. And I think, did Josh take another pit stop? Did I see that? Because now he's way far behind, 22 seconds back of the next driver ahead.
Let me take a peek.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, he's done 2 stops, so I'm gonna go on a limb here, Eric, and assume he's going for reverse grid full.
Yeah, I believe so. Maybe putting on that fresher set, looking for that, maybe trying that pole position with the second race, seeing the spin. Potentially had flat spotted his tires in the process of that spin, maybe with a lockup. I'm not sure.
I went to the race director and I took a peek, and
Oh.
Josh actually had to take a new front wing, so he obtained some
Oh,
damage.
yeah, that would definitely do it. But are we under virtual safety car now? I think, as I'm seeing this whole track being covered in yellow, which does indicate the virtual safety car, as much as the flag hadn't popped up. I'm not necessarily sure what this was for. Oh, but that's actually crucially Monkey Mafia, who's DNF'd out of the race. But I think that is Monkey Mafia in the pits, as we have returned green now. So maybe had got caught up into an incident, not happy with the way his first race is going. So that's Monkey Mafia out of the race here around the midway point of this first race for Formula Fridays. And crucially, because of the DNF or the retirement in the pits, will not benefit even from a second race starting up on pole. The likes of which we're potentially seeing Josh 2 try being oh so far behind. Because, of course, as we've mentioned before, when you do DNF, when you crash out or retire out of the first race, you don't get that the benefit of starting on pole for the second race.
No, I took a look back at the stream, and it appeared there was they threw a caution when Dark went into the pit to make his stop, and immediately the VSC came out.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, that's
very confused.
Yeah, that's sort of what I saw as well, but I had no idea why the virtual safety car came out, but which is also why I was so quick to jump on the idea that maybe Monkey Mafia had crashed out, and maybe just at the same time, Monkey Mafia maybe hitting a wall somewhere, and maybe putting some end plates, some pieces of wing out on track, which maybe that brought out the virtual safety car just for the stewards, for the marshals to go pick up that front wing, clear the track, and get back to racing. Because, of course, that is 100% exactly what happens here on the F1 2020 video game, right down to the marshals running on track and picking up the items, right? Right? But here we are, back to the action. We're riding on board with Joseph Cozy as he's putting a lot of pressure on Hartman. Cozy had just come out of the pits on the soft tires, and you can see the pace difference right up behind that rear diffuser, making a move down the inside, a little bit of wiggling from the drivers, but Cozy is able to get that move done fairly easily to move up into P9, and you can see that little blip in the distance that is ISRL Dark on the fresh set of medium tires as well. So Joseph Cozy on those soft tires, probably going to be pushing as hard as he can to close up that gap and work his way up the order and try to get a few more positions before the race is over. But it was a bit of a very, I wouldn't say an amazing move, but more of a textbook move here around Paul Ricard, as these long back straights are definitely where you would expect to see overtakes here on this circuit. But really not many overtaking spots other than those long straights, as well as the start-finish straight, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's spread out. The only close battle is Assassin just trying as hard as to reel in Izat.
Yep, and that's the battle we have on screen right now here on lap 9 out of 13. And I do have to give it to Assassin. He is closing that gap. It was right around a second, 1.1 second. It is down to, well, it was down to 0.9, now down to 0.8 of a second. So Assassin is slowly but surely closing that gap. But I think, especially for Assassin, we know the consistency Izat Kush has shown through the entirety of Season 4 so far. So Assassin's really going to have to make sure to string a couple of really solid time trial-like laps together to really close up that gap.
Here,
yeah, please.
I'm not really trying to cut you off, but Pretzels has a drive-through penalty.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so from the lead, he pits in. You would think he'd be coming off those mediums to go onto the softs. But I digress. It's a long pit road as well, so he's just painfully making his way through, and he's going to have to come back again because he started on those medium tires. So that strategy call, that's out the window now for him.
Yeah, it really didn't work out the way he was hoping for, and I think that goes to show, especially here in a 25% race, those mistakes, those potentially trying to push the boundaries of the deltas of the virtual safety car can definitely come and bite you if you're not careful, and I think that might have been exactly what happened to Pretzels. As much as there is also the other thing to mention that those deltas are a little bit inconsistent
Oh, yeah.
sometimes, and oh my goodness, what's
Wow.
going on here?
What?
As
What
that
is
was
Knight doing?
yeah, Knight having a little bit of a wobble down
This is
the
excessive.
front straight. Almost looked like he slipped on a Mario Kart banana peel there, or just
100%.
completely misjudged the turn in for the corner.
No, I
But
think he was trying to break slipstream, but it was, I don't know, very dramatic.
I mean, it was dramatic, but a little bit late to break the slipstream. If I'm being completely honest, 'cause that
Yeah,
was really close before the corner, and that could have ended much worse than it did. But
it was
still, now,
silly. I'll say that.
yeah, but even more so with the fact that Pretzels is most likely going to have to dive into the pits at the end of this lap, as you're
Oops.
seeing him do, going a little bit wide in the process, but is able to recover back into that pit line and dive into the pits. So it was a big battle for not much result for Knight, as he holds off Pretzels and immediately in his side mirrors sees that car dive into the pits and potentially maybe laughing about that now, I would think, just with the overzealous of the move. But I do want to
Yeah.
say, Assassin, the gap is down to half a second between himself and Izat Kush. So I think we might potentially see a battle here before this race is over. You can see quickly Assassin closing up that gap, trying to make a lunge down the inside. There's contact, and actually
He brought that on
Assassin
himself.
getting the worst of that, as Izat Kush keeps the car under control, and now all of that hard work Assassin has done is basically out the window, trying to force that late move, when realistically potentially could have been just that little bit more patient and tried to run the second time around
Well,
after the
here's the
chicane.
thing. He has a 5-second penalty already, so even if he got by Izza, the chances of him winning that race, I think potentially, hold on. I think Carter, if Carter can up the ante just a little bit, might be on for podium. Actually, I'm mistaken. Never mind. I take everything I just said back. Well, the 5-second penalty is going to drop Assassin from at least second down to third. That's going to put Sophion on the podium.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, promote Sophion up to second, but yeah, I didn't even consider the penalties here this late. But I was just thinking more just for the sake of keeping patient. But no, that is a great point with the penalties. I guess you would want to force that move just a little bit more in order to try to build that gap. Now, just as I was switching over to Pretzels, as he got very, very close to Mo, I think on the exit of the final corner, Mo went a little bit wide. Pretzels took a slightly better line, and with the more grip on those fresh set of soft tires after that pit stop, got the move done relatively easily on Chill Mo, who's now looking to hold off Hartman. And these two drivers, Mo and Hartman, have been battling through the entirety of this first race here in Formula Fridays. So it's only fitting that here we are on lap 12
Josh
out of
Pitt's
13.
again.
Sorry?
Josh Pitt again.
I think...
he's simply going for fastest lap.
Yeah,
He
I
knows
think...
he's going to
Yeah.
have pole, fastest lap.
Yeah, that's...
But everybody's getting points. We only have 13 running drivers, so everybody's going to come away with points here.
Yeah, looking to get very
Not quite
close,
the
but...
same
Oh my!
for these two.
Sorry, just as I was saying that, I switched back to Hartman and Mo, and it looked as though Mo had a little bit of a moment through that the little chicane in Sector 2 that separates the two long straights, which opened the door and allowed Hartman to get I'll be honest, a little bit of an easy overtake on Mo, who here has been falling down the order just a little bit here in this first race of Formula Fridays. But of course, it does open the door for a nice start to the second race, starting on that at least as of right now in P3 on that second row of the grid. Well, maybe I'm not too sure about the penalties between these two drivers, but maybe not really much of a worry given the penalty difference between Hartman and Mo. but I actually haven't switched over to it. But let's go do that right now, actually.
Yeah, they each got 6 seconds, so it's a battle on track that will stick, barring any more. Oh, that's Mushroom. Yeah. Also want to mention Joseph Cozy and Jordan, both our biggest movers so far. Both up 5 positions from the start. Biggest losers so far are Jordan and Mushroom. I mean, whoops, sorry,
Yeah,
Jordan.
Josh and
Mushroom. Whoopsie.
yeah, both down 5 positions. So not the, I mean, not necessarily the race, well, the first race that Mushroom and Josh were hoping for. And I know Mushroom was on pace for having a really strong showing, but I think maybe some incidents. I'm not quite too sure what happened to bring him down the order, but I know he was up there. I thought battling it out for, I believe it was potentially a top 5 earlier on in this session, as it is Izat Kush who's going to cross the line and take the victory here on race 1, and Sophion gets promoted up into P2 after Passassin falls down the order with penalties, but thankfully, crucially for Passassin, he will stay on the podium, as it is Carter not closing up enough of a gap, but still a solid P4 showing for ISRL Carter, and that's going to be ISRL Knight rounding out the top 5, as we're just awaiting for the last few drivers to cross the line. You can see Chilmo and Mushroom a little bit close, but I think it might be a little too late for that move to happen. Yep, there we go. And I think Mo knew that he was going to get the overtake done either way on penalties. So that is going to be still an extra position for Mo here in the first race, but will be losing out on a possible front row start for the second race, which is something...
Josh can do the fastest lap here.
Yeah, let's take a look and see. We'll look down at the bottom of the screen to see, will that fastest lap pop up?
There it is.
Yep, I'll take your word for it, as it was just a little bit too quick for me to see with I guess my slow eyes, but I'll be able to confirm that. And Joseph Cozy getting driver of the day for the first race. So congratulations, Joseph Cozy. You win driver of the day for the first race, as voted by all the fans here in the F1 2020 video game universe.
But him and Jordan, it was a toss-up. They both moved out the field.
Yep, it was a toss-up.
From this week.
Yep, let's take a look and see in a moment. We'll see. We're seeing the podium interviews. Sat Kush doing a little bit of a twirl before jumping on the podium, and oh no, I believe that was the if I saw correctly, was it the Polish flag this week?
No, I think that's actually. Ah man, Carter would know this. Carter's very good with his flags.
Yep, unfortunately, oh no, that is definitely not the Polish flag. Maybe
no. Turkey?
Singapore? I'm gonna get grilled for this, I completely know it. So I'm gonna just stop my guesses there. But Izat Kush, from wherever he is racing from this week, takes the win on the first race, with Sophion coming in second and Passassin rounding out the podium. So strong races from these drivers, and we'll see how they can fare with race 2 starting at the back of the grid, with Carter in 4th, Knight in 5th, Jordan in 6th, Dark coming in 7th, Joseph Cozy coming in 8th, Pretzels in 9th, and Hartman rounding out the top 10, with Chilmo coming in 11th, Mushroom in 12th, Josh 2 in 13th, and Monkey Mafia, unfortunately not finishing the race, finishing in 14th, and as mentioned, we'll be starting still from the back of the grid because of that, because of the early retirement. But that is the end. Pardon?
You can only go up from there.
Yep, that's the thing. Only go up, and I do expect to see a strong second race showing from Monkey Mafia here. Probably out for a little bit of vengeance after the early finish to the first race. But that'll do it here for the first race. But those watching at home, don't go anywhere, because in just a moment we will bring you race 2. It'll be a reverse grid 5-lap sprint, with the drivers finishing the race at the top, starting the second race on the bottom, and will only have 5 laps to try to charge their way up the grid. But crucially, it also allows for drivers who maybe didn't have the best first race, but who stuck it through to the end, to have that moment of glory for the second race as well, as they're going to have to fight for 5 laps. But I do think we are going to see potentially some, I keep saying this every week, but every week it does show, I think we're going to see a little bit more aggressive driving in the second race, as we're prone to seeing, given that it is only 5 laps. So drivers are going to try to force those moves a little bit more to try to work their way up the grid. So we might see a bit more aggressive moves and potentially even some more aggressive defending as well, as drivers are going to do all they can to try to fend off these the other drivers from the overtakes, as they want to hold on to that position as well. Because of course there's still some points up for grabs for the second race. Now, the first race runs, if I recall correctly, it is our ISRL point scheme from 1st to 15th, if I recall. But the second race is going to be points from in the way we would see it with very typical F1, which is points between 1st and 10th. So a little bit more to play for here in race 2, as you only get points if you are in the top 10.
Yep. Just, hold on. Telling these guys that we are good to go. 14 people are, oops, actually I should go back. Spectate mode, there we go.
Perfect. Alright, so quick grid to, a very easy, very quick grid to get set up with only 14 drivers. But once the grid is set up and ready to go, we will give the cue. The drivers are ready up, and we'll be jumping right back in for the second race. And I'm getting excited here for the second race. We do still have the dynamic weather on, so maybe weather could play a factor here for this for the second race. Didn't really do much for the first race, but of course it is another roll of the dice for race 2. But as mentioned, how are drivers like Isaac Kush, Sofian, Passassin? We know they're quick. We've seen them charge up the grid. But of course, Circuit Paul Ricard is a bit of a different beast. It does offer, it offers long back straights, which do favor, a more top speed setup. But it does have a lot of tight, twisty corners as well. So we'll have to see how these, how the setups are going to play into effect. But I do want to, I want to show some love for Mushroom, as maybe didn't have the race 1 he was hoping for, but will be starting on the front row of the grid alongside of Josh 2 for race 2. So I'd like to see how Mushroom's going to do from starting from the front row of the grid. Will he be able to eke out another podium, maybe a win here? But he does have his hands full with the likes of Josh 2. We know he's got the pace. He's going to be starting from the front row of the grid as well. And I know Josh 2 is probably going to be out for at least a little bit of vengeance after having that spin in race 1, but probably wanting to put a bit of a statement win on race 2, even if it is just a 5-lap sprint. But all those questions and more will be answered in just a few moments, as we are just about ready to start race 2.
You gotta love the 5-lapper in turn 1, because there's so many unknowns. There are known knowns, and there are unknown unknowns. Things you don't know,
Well,
and that's turn 1.
I was going to say, I feel the one thing maybe we can expect to see is, to quote a well-known racing driver, send it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a full send for some of these drivers into turn 1. But looking at the weather,
sure. It's clear, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit disappointed. People in Division 4 got to be watching all these other league races being like, come on. Division 4 has had 4 straight rainy races to begin the season.
Oh,
Every single
goodness.
race. Canada, China, Austria. And on Wednesday, it was raining in France again. And on Formula Fridays, we get treated to, well, you know what?
nice and dry. Other than China, I know Tier 3 was kind of the same thing, where it's just been nice and dry the entire way through, which, of course, as I drive in Tier 3, I'm not going to complain all that much about the dry conditions.
I will. I'll take up that complaint. I want a little bit of a wet race.
Oh, I don't. I have no pace under the wets, personally. But here we go. We're going to be kicking things off here in 2 seconds. And to the drivers, it's a little bit late for this now, but I hope they didn't forget to put on their setups here for race 2,
Whoops.
as you might have a bad time. But up to 5 red lights for the 5-lap sprint, and they were quick 5 red lights, and we are off already a little bit of movement as Joseph Cozy really didn't have the start he was hoping for the first race. Josh, too, having a good start here, and Mushroom holding on. It looks like there's maybe a little bit of contact here. Oh my goodness, what is going on? That was, who was that? That was Pretzels, I think, who got sent off. And I think he's the only driver who really got the worst of all of that, as for the most part, everybody got away relatively cleanly. We've got some moves up the field as we've got Cozy falling down the order. We've got a yellow flag, and that's Pretzels, who... Oh, Pretzels, you know you can't do that. That's a retirement on track for Pretzels here for race 2. Really not happy with his second race. And I believe that is something that the stewards are probably going to be looking into. But for us here, we will continue onwards back to the racing action as Knight putting a lot of pressure on Dark and does get an overtake on that, I guess, the yellow car of ISRL Dark. So it is Knight up into 4th. And already the likes of Izat Kush and Sophion up into P9 and P10. And from the lead, Josh, too, has already built himself a 1.5 second gap to second place, which is ISRL Mushroom. But he himself is having a pretty strong first lap as well, able to keep a second gap to Mo, who's now going to... Mo is going to be seeing a lot of drivers behind him already, the likes of Knight and Dark, who they're still battling, the two of them. And Passassin and Carter right behind are battling as well. And it's a nice little, I guess, 2x2 battles. And by that, I feel you might have seen something that I might have missed.
Oh, Assassin just got really loose coming out of turn 1. Opened the door for Carter, and again, we just got side-by-side racing between the two guys.
Oh my goodness, but while all of that is happening, this is Carter and Passassin going side-by-side through this that nice little corner section there. And it
split in the middle right here.
Oh my goodness, that was a nice little 3 wide between Mo, Dark, and Knight. And who's going to get this position? It's I think now it's a 2-horse battle between Knight and Dark. Dark going wide a little bit on the inside. And who was that who just squeezed in? That's Carter! Where did Carter come from in this battle? And yeah, Passassin too. What is going on here?
Wide. Boys!
Oh no! Who was that? Oh no, that's Carter! Oh, from 0 to 0 for ISRL Carter as he falls down the order. But that was a crazy move, and honestly, I had no idea where he came from. He just came out of nowhere to get involved with this battle, but high risk, high reward, but unfortunately it didn't work out for Carter this time around. But now going to have to switch over to Recovery Drive to try to get a top 10. But we still have a battle going on here for this last podium position between Knight and Passassin, and Izat Kush is now going to be getting involved with Dark and Jordan a little bit further behind. But crucially, through all of that, it's not the outcome I think Chilmo was looking for, as he's down into 9th after all of that, as now we've got some of these quicker drivers who have caught up. Sophion overtaking Jordan here through this the end of Sector 1, and into this the right-hander before the long back straight to start Sector 2. But for now, it's still Knight holding off Passassin.
Passassin and Knight 0 on Passassin's DRS, but he's going to absolutely lick the stamp here, and Knight's not having it.
No, Knight defending very well, but I think now Passassin's going to go for it once again. As oh no,
that's Mo.
Oh no, you hate to see it for Chill Mo, from bad to worse. And but crucially, while all of this is happening, as Mo takes from bad to worse to even more worse, but I still can't get enough of this battle as Knight and Passassin are going side by side through this swooping left-hander. And I think it is still Knight who's holding on to this position, but Passassin keeping the tire there, keeping that nose in, gets the inside line, and I think now, thought he had the move done, but Knight is just doing such a good job holding his line, holding his position, and now Izat Kush is going to get involved to go 3 wide into turn 1, and I think now Knight has backed out, seeing that can only end one way, but does allow the likes for Passassin and Izat Kush to get the overtake done, as they're going to be continuing on. And what's going on here? That's Hartman, who fell down the order as well, having some moments into turn 1 and turn 2. That's Mo retiring out of the race after the incident here. So not having that second race he was hoping for, unfortunately. You hate to see that, as I was really hoping for a good showing from Chill Mo here in this session. But I know he's going to be taking that and putting in the work, and probably, I would think, having a very strong performance in in Tier 3. And that is something I do expect to see from Chill Mo. But here we go, back to the action.
Looking in pretty good position to keep that P2.
Oh yeah, I mean, Josh too has kind of run away with the lead, which, I'll be honest, starting from pole, I did kind of expect to happen. But Mushroom doing a fantastic job holding on to that, holding on to the P2, and keeping that gap steady between himself and third, and put himself into a very strong position here with just now jumping into the final lap of the race. He's got a 2-second gap to Izat Kush, who was basically stuck battling from the back of the grid all the way up the order. And Passassin's just been sticking to Izat Kush like, oh my goodness, like sticky glue almost through the entirety of this 5-lapper, and is still 0.2 of a second behind. But if I'm looking at the, okay, so they both don't really have all that much ERS to work with, albeit Izat Kush does have, I think, just a tiny little bit more to use it. Oh no! On the last lap, that's Passassin, who's hit the wall very quickly, resets to track, as I got a nice little onboard of that, but that lets him fall down the order down to 10th, and you can see the frustration as he starts to wobble down the back straight with that, and that he got overtaken by quite a few drivers there, and that's not what he was hoping for on the last lap. But here, Joseph Cozy and Monkey Mafia battling it out. There was a little bit of contact here, but thankfully everybody's gotten away cleanly. Monkey Mafia is going to have the inside line, Joseph Cozy on the outside line, but I think it is Joseph Cozy just having a little bit of a better traction, able to carry more speed, and gets the overtake done on the last lap to go up into P8. Now, if I look back to this battle, Sophion did get past Knight to go up into 5th at some point, and is trying to put a little bit of pressure on Dark, but I think it is going to be too little too late, as it is Josh too taking the victory here for the second race, and ISRL Mushroom holding on to P2 with a very strong drive here on race 2, with Izat Kush once again ending up on the podium, but will be in 3rd place and not on that top step, as we've gotten used to seeing here on Formula Fridays.
I'll tell you who's going to be pretty upset. It's going to be Joseph Cozy. That last lap, they're him and Monkey Mafia are battling for it, and because Passassin reset to track, Cozy had to go around Passassin to avoid slamming into the back of him, and took a 2-second penalty for his troubles, and that cost him in the end. He made the move down on Monkey Mafia around the outside, as we saw in turn 10, and it was just ripped away from him.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that gave Joseph Cozy a penalty. I did see, as Passassin was back on track, I did see Monkey Mafia fly by with Cozy taking the wider line to avoid the slower car in case it didn't ghost. So I'm sure the cockpit of Joseph Cozy definitely fuming after that one. But it's definitely interesting. We might see that taken to the stewards, but equally maybe, as a lot of the drivers like to do in Formula Fridays, just discuss that, keep it away from the stewards booth, just have that chat one-on-one and clear the air that way. But but that said, it is Josh 2 taking the victory here for race 2, with ISRL Mushroom starting in 2nd, finishing in 2nd, a very strong race all around, with Izat Kush once again ending up on the podium. And that's ISRL Dark in 4th, Sophion rounding out the top 5, Knight coming in 6th, Jordan in 7th, Monkey Mafia in 8th, Joseph Cozy in 9th, Carter is rounding out the top 10, so still points for ISRL Carter, even after that incident early on, with Passassin coming in 11th, Hartman in 12th, and Chill Mo in 13th, and Pretzels in 14th, the last two retiring early here for race 2. But my, what a race that was, and honestly, I can't expect anything less from these races here for Formula Fridays.
Yep, that's the 5 lap for you. It's just an absolute defibrillator in terms of getting the heart rate pumping again, especially
Yep.
for these drivers. I mean, look at Izat from 13th to 3rd.
Yep, that was a crazy drive, and I feel this 5-lapper more than the rest. You really had to work for that P3. There was a lot of battling going on through the entirety of those 5 laps, excuse me, with multiple instances of 3 wide, and it looked as though for a while that last podium position changed hands about 6 times in a span of about like 4 corners and 2 straights, when here around like lap 2, lap 3, when it was just the crazy chaotic 3 wide, 4 wide, 2x2 battles that we were seeing. And I mean, we've said it. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. It almost felt like I was watching a NASCAR race, given all the side-by-side and 3 wide battles I was seeing for race 2. But nonetheless,
ultimately, I want to say. Oh, sorry. I just want to say, ultimately, Carter. I feel so bad. Carter had tremendous pace there in that 5-lapper. He made the moves. He took what was given to him, and he was given plenty of opportunities. Ultimately, you cannot. I don't think you can be going 3 wide into 10 and got the short end of the stick there. I just can't help but feel for him.
No, I can't help but feel either. But the good news for Carter is that if that's what I can expect to see from ISRL Carter for the Tier 1 race, I think he's going to have a fantastic showing if he puts on another drive like that one. But we will find out. We will find all of that out on Sunday. As for us here in Formula Fridays, that is going to do it for this stream. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And I'm just going to check in one last time. Any final words, Asunik, before we officially wrap things up here?
No, I just want to say thank you to the drivers again for showing up and making this exciting. I look forward to this, honestly, every Friday night to really just watch a bit of a twisted race that we're accustomed to on Wednesdays and Sundays. So thank you to everybody and everybody at home watching. I know for the Europeans it's a bit late, and we do appreciate it. And just go ahead, share the heck out of the stream, and smash the thumbs up button. And we love you guys.
Oh yeah, please do. It is extremely appreciated. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed the racing action as much as we did here in the commentators booth. But make sure to tune in on Sunday for the 3 tiers. We've got 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Tier 3, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Tier 2, and 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Tier 1, as they take their cracks here at Circuit Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix. But for us here at Formula Fridays, that'll do it for us. And until next week, we will see you guys later, and have yourselves a fantastic evening.